Hello everyone, and welcome back to Stories with me, Jesse. Today we have another viewer request from Dihen, Govind Shanker, and Big Playa, who all wanted to hear about people getting some sweet payback over at Reddit/blackholerevenge. Strap in and prepare yourself, cause we're getting started now. Our story is titled, Don't Be a Snitch, Bitch. I'm going to start this by saying that unlike most people who post things like this, I'm not sorry. At all. I'm aware that what I did was, to put it mildly, evil. But I honestly don't care. Make of that what you will. I did what I did. This story occurs in the early 2000s in a large urban city that I'm going to decline to name. I was 17 at the time. I was a heroin addict. My addiction had consumed the entirety of my life. My mother threw me out of our apartment after I stole our rent money for the second time to pay my dealer. She did the right thing, not going to argue it. I was a shitty human, and in a way, I deserved the life I ended up leading thereafter. I'm still a shitty human, but at least I don't get high anymore. I ended up a prostitute, not an escort. I was the type of working girl you found on street corners, not in the phone book with a booking agent. It wasn't a fun job, and the guy I worked for was a dickhead, but he kept me high more often than not, and didn't beat my ass too often. So as far as I was concerned, it was whatever. He had other girls besides me working for him. We'll call them Honey and Sugar. Honey was okay. She was a user like I was, and if I was short, she was always down to share a rinse or go in for a little extra to get me straight if I was feeling shitty. And our daddy was in a bad mood, and I didn't want to ask for an extra hit. I liked her, and so I never minded working with her. She also knew how to keep her mouth shut, which was something I appreciated. Sugar, on the other hand, was another story. This f***ing bitch. Anything she heard went right back to Daddy's ear. Anything she saw got reported on. Kept something if you got a tip so you could buy some condoms or a candy bar? She's snitching. Spent a little extra time with a date. That mouth would run. The bitch never shut up, and Honey and I hated her for it. The crazy thing was that it didn't win her points with our daddy either. He didn't like that shit any more than we did. He knew we did minor shit, and as long as we weren't f***ing with his money, he didn't give a damn about $5 here or there, because it meant we weren't asking him for shit. But if she brought it to his attention, he had no choice but to do something about it. It got old fast. She was weird, too. Even though she did all that shit, she still somehow thought we were all friends. Like, she'd snitch and I'd get my ass beat, and then the next day, she'd act buddy-buddy like she thought I just forgot what she did now, that it was all said and done. She had the f***ing audacity to be hurt when I didn't want to work with her, and that Honey and I would get quiet and ignore her if we had to be around each other. It was crazy. So yeah, safe to say I had a problem with her, and I was waiting for a chance to f*** her over royally. The opportunity came on a slow night. It was about 1 a.m. and it was pissing rain. I was tired. I'd been out since about 9 and I'd only had one date, so I was sweating going home with a light take when this car rolls up. Nice car. A bit dated, but still nicer than most of the ones rolling around in the area, so I perked up. Window goes down, and it's an older dude in his 50s. He had this super dark hair that I automatically knew came out of a box because his mustache was salt and pepper, and the whole car smelled weirdly like mint. I didn't care. I needed the money, so I got in. He wanted full service, which was $100 in my pocket, which would be enough that I could call it a night and go home, and my daddy wouldn't be too shitty about it. He'd be shitty because it was still a light bag, but I'd get my hit, and I could go the f*** to sleep and not be sick. Dude drives us to the back of this shut-down bodega, and I was ready to just get this done, so I was down. He and I moved to the back seat, and he handed me my money, and I looked down to stuff it in my bra, and then I started pulling up my skirt. I only took my eyes off him for half a second, but all of a sudden the dude grabbed me by the throat with both hands and started squeezing. The funny thing is that I wasn't even surprised. I seriously considered just not fighting, just letting it happen. I was miserable. My life was shit, and it wasn't like anybody would miss me. Would it be so bad? It wouldn't really be suicide, which meant I wouldn't go to hell. Raised Catholic. I see the irony in my thinking now, believe me. Prostitution and drug use? Okay. Suicide? Hell nah. Religion is a hell of a drug, kids. Just say no. In the end, I fought back. He had me halfway against the door, so I pretended to be out and went limp, and he let go of my throat to get his fly down, I guess. And while he was leaned back off me, I pulled my leg up and kicked him in the balls, and then reached behind me and went for the door handle. It wasn't locked, and I ended up on the ground on my ass. I got up and booked it down the street as fast as I could. Lost both my shoes in the process, because no way was I trying to run in heels. Good news, I still had my money. My neck was bruised to f***ing back, but it wasn't long before I was too high to care. Life went on. New day, same bullshit. 2 months later, when it was the middle of summer, me and Sugar were out together. Honey already had a date, and I had just come back from one, so I was making use of an alley for a bit of cleanup. Sugar was standing on the sidewalk waiting. And then what do I see rolling down the road? The nice sedan. It slowed down, and I knew it was him. Same guy, same car, and Sugar was gonna take the date. The same date that almost killed me. He hadn't seen me where I was wiping myself off behind the dumpster, but I saw him. I could have said something. I could have yelled at Sugar and told her about the guy, but I didn't. I didn't say a word. I watched her get in the car, and I watched the taillights fade out into the distance, and I already knew Sugar wasn't going to be coming home that night. Bye, bitch. Tell Daddy some shit now. She didn't have a clue what she'd just gotten herself into either. See, I told Honey about the guy as soon as I got back. Told her how he looked and what car he drove, and about how he smelled, so she wouldn't get in with the same psycho I did by accident. But I'd never warned Sugar. Maybe in the back of my mind I was hoping that I'd have the opportunity to do what I did. Sugar didn't come back that night, or any other in the next year I worked. I only saw the car one more time, driving slow down the street to look at who was out. I waved and blew him a kiss. He did me a favor after all, so no hard feelings about the whole strangling thing. I sure as wasn't getting in his car again, but I wasn't mad about it. He looked so confused that he actually looked like he was going to stop for a minute. But I guess he thought better of it because he sped up and kept going. I never saw him or that car again. Not too long after that, I got arrested, which led me to actually getting clean and getting my shit together. Never told anybody about what I did that night until now. Never told the cops about him either because A, I was doing my own dirt, and B, as long as Honey wasn't getting in his car, I didn't give a f*** who else he picked up. Still don't. Not my problem. No idea what happened to Sugar after she got in the car that night. I never heard anything about her again, and neither did anybody else that I know of. No body ever showed up either, so it's not 100% certain that he killed her, but I think he did. I know he was planning on killing me that night. It explains why he didn't bitch about the fact that I told him money first. He just handed it over. No argument. No, half now and half when I get off. He figured he'd just get it back when he was done. Not like I was gonna need it anymore. Joke's on him. I got away, and I didn't have to f*** him. Sometimes everybody wins, except Sugar, that is, because f*** her. Damn, that was a crazy story about sex, drugs, and revenge. No matter how much I dislike a person, I don't think that I could ever wish for something fatal to happen to them. But I suppose living that kind of life could drive a person to do all kinds of crazy things. What did you guys think about this story? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. One more shout out to Big Playa for being my 300th subscriber, and for everyone who suggested today's topic. Anyways, that's about all the time we have for today, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks again for tuning in with me, Jesse. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content, and check out what other stories I have for you. Remember that if someone double crosses you, open up a black hole of revenge and toss them into it. Now go out there and get some revenge. I'll catch you in the next one.